All right, fantastic. I think we can go ahead and kick things off this evening. All right, recording going. I'm not seeing it yet.
The recording is going.
It is. All right, fantastic. Great. All right, fantastic. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We are very excited to share with you a bit about the University of Utah's Department of Biomedical Informatics graduate training programs. So thanks for being with us. My name is Vicki Tiazzi. I am a nurse informaticist and assistant professor at the University of Utah, and thrilled to be here and to walk through a little bit about our program. You'll be hearing from a number of individuals in our department to share some of our processes and also some of the research that is happening here. And then we'll also avail quite a bit of time at the end for your questions. So please feel free to add those in the chat as we go, and we can address them when we get to that question and answer time, or feel free to save them until that portion, and we would love to hear from you. So to start, one of the most exciting things about the University of Utah Biomedical Informatics is the very rich history of this program. So one of the oldest programs in the United States, first informatics PhD in 1965, and then first to be in a school of medicine in 1972. So a lot of firsts. A lot of great work that we have as a foundation to build upon here in the department, and a lot of great expertise that we have carried through the years. So it's a very exciting place to be, part of a large academic medical center as well, where we can really collaborate from an informatics perspective. Just a little bit about our education programs, and you'll be hearing more about these from Amy in just a few moments. But as you can see here, we have a number of different programs, and the master's and PhD programs being our highlights and what we'll be answering quite a bit of questions about here today. And then in terms of the PhD program, as you can see here, covers a number of different research threads as well as application tracks, over 40 hours of coursework, really diverse research in the informatics space, with faculty expertise in all of these areas. So again, very exciting from an informatics perspective, and open to a lot of new and novel ideas generated in the research space here. In terms of the PhD program requirements, you'll hear more about these in a moment, but just a quick overview that you can see here. And then also with the non-thesis master's program, again, we'll get into some of these details. And then our master's program requirements. So all of these are also outlined on our website, where you can see more details. And again, just to emphasize why DBMI here at the University of Utah. So really great opportunities to collaborate in our clinical setting, very diverse research labs. You'll hear about 2 of those today. Faculty expertise in a number of areas, and then certainly a number of research affiliations. Very excited to have a nationally designated cancer center in the Huntsman Cancer Institute, where located in close proximity to Intermountain Health, and also the Department of Veterans Affairs. So we have a VA facility just across the street. So again, a lot of opportunities to explore research In terms of our current students, you can see the totals here. So we have, a diverse and a large student population, which is, wonderful to share ideas, collaborate with, socialize with. So a very exciting environment compared to other departments of biomedical informatics. And then certainly last but not least, program alumni, are in a wide variety of career opportunities. So you can see here some of those, but certainly there are many more that are not listed. And through the networking we have with our alumni, that's another exciting piece that students can take advantage of and be connected with. So from here, I am now going to turn it over to Amy, where she will dig into a little deeper in some of the program and application requirements. So thanks, Amy.
All right, let me see here. Let me just make sure. Perfect. Okay, so I'm Amy. I'm going to go over some of the basic application and admissions processes. Barb Saffel, who is also on this call, and I work on the administrative side of the PhD and postdocs in the department. So we'll start off with the basics of the application process, maybe. Hello, there we go. So it's an online application and it is free for domestic students. Our deadline is December 1st, and we will be accepting late applications, the latest being December 31st. And then we'll get more into the details. So the application materials that we require is a CV or resume, and then a personal statement. And this should be about 1 to 2 pages. And some brief suggestions of what to include are going to be a description of your present academic interests, future career goals, a summary of your experience, and the reasons you're applying to our program. In addition to that, also describe your scientific interests. And it is helpful here, but not necessary, to mention faculty members from our department that you may be interested in working with, whose research interests you, or who you think would be a good mentor for you personally. And you can find a list of faculty that are interested in accepting students on our website, but I'll also put it in the chat below. But just make sure you take your time with this personal statement. It is kind of hard and tricky to get that all into 1 to 2 pages. So make sure you have some people read it, because we do pay very close attention to that. And the next item is going to be 3 letters of reference. And in your online application, you'll include the emails of those you have chosen to be your letters of recommendation, and they'll receive an email from the system telling them that you've requested a letter of recommendation for them for this application. And as for who you should choose to write your letters of recommendation, we would like to see people such as direct supervisors who can speak to your academic performance, research experience, and work ethic, and just your overall potential as a PhD student. And then the final item is going to be transcripts, and these can be unofficial transcripts as you submit your application. But we need transcripts from all schools, even if you attended for only 1 semester, 1 class, we're going to need that transcript. And then let's see. Hello. Okay, so our review criteria, all applications are reviewed by our internal admissions committee, and each application is reviewed fully. And they're going to be looking at the following things: academic background. This is where we'll see if you have the prereqs that we like to see, which are statistics, programming, and basic biology. They'll look at your research experience and look for any evidence of publications or presentations. And they'll also look at your technical skills, like proficiency in informatics approaches and applications to biomedical topics. And again, the statement of purpose, your personal statement, and your letters of recommendation come into play here as well. And through all of this, the committee will look at at your interests and see if those interests align with any of the faculty members who are looking to accept students. And next up is going to be the timeline. And again, so the deadline is December 1st. And the next step after the committee fully reviews those applications is going to be setting up Zoom interviews with applicants and possible faculty mentors that we think could be a good match. And since we want to obviously make sure you're happy and you're set up for success and matched with the best possible mentor, this does take some time. And then we can start extending offers as early as February. And the latest we can extend an offer that you can accept is April 15th, and that's due to the graduate policy across the world. And then after we've extended an offer to you, we would also invite you for an in-person visit to our campus, which is fully paid for by the department. And that is only available for students in Canada or the US. But obviously, international students, we would still set up multiple Zoom interviews. And then fall semester would start on August 19th, but obviously you'd arrive prior to that. So I think that's all I have. Yep, that's all I have for you. So I can turn you over to Kathy now, who is going to give you an overview of the PhD program. No interview.
So I do not have extra slides, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about what it's like to be a student. In many cases, you can almost think of, if you think of a full-time job, half of your time will be in your advisor's lab, working on their research or, things related to their research. That's the piece that your funding sort of pays for, a large piece. The other half of your time, you're going to classes, you're working on your own research, and moving things along there. So it's busy. I'll be honest about that. It generally takes, on average, for the department 5 years to finish. That includes the coursework and the research. Not everyone takes 5 years. Some people move faster, some people move slower. That's just sort of the average across students. The first 2 years are really focused on coursework, getting sort of the basics under your belt. And then the last is mostly focused on getting your dissertation research done. For a PhD, what that looks like typically is a sort of think 3-ish papers, whatever volume of work would lead to a paper or equivalent. Typically, students get the first 1 or 2 knocked out during the initial phases, and then they will propose, how do I want to finish up? What's my sort of put a bow on it package? How do I turn this into a dissertation? For master's students, we do predominantly a non-thesis master's. There's a practicum and a capstone presentation that takes the place of the written thesis for the master's students. Beyond that, there's a certain amount of the program of study that is required, but a lot is tailored to your individual interests and background. And then we can just answer questions that you guys have at the end. I think the person following me is Jory, Dr. Butler.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so I am just going to talk a little bit about the work that we're doing in my lab. We are accepting students. I included a link that gives you some info about who's working with us right now and some of the things that we're working on. Primarily, we do socio-technical work That takes a lot of different forms. So we can use and train people who are interested in lots of different types of work, from kind of doing usability testing and assessment to foundational development of clinical decision support tools, or other tools. We lead work where we have developed a series of patient-generated health data mobile applications. We also work closely with a lot of DBMI collaborators and collaborators elsewhere. So we have a lot of different types of things that we're doing. An area where we're growing is kind of understanding how clinicians respond to and can be supported in the use of tools that incorporate AI-based technologies. And so that is some of what we do. We're fast-paced and busy lab. We have some staff, but not a lot. And so we're really built with our students, our collaborators. We have some undergraduate students, and we kind of all work together collaboratively to make progress on our work. And we are accepting students this year. So we welcome people who want to be in a dynamic and fast-paced lab working on big questions and learning skills in socio-technical informatics. Yeah. So is he going next?
Looks like I'm next. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let me get my slides pulled up. All right. Hello, my name is Yi Chao. I'm a new faculty member at the Department of Biomedical Informatics as of July this year. As such, I am looking to accept one, possibly two graduate students this round to bootstrap a completely new lab. So that's just the background of that. My background was in cancer genomics, and my current research portfolio revolves around essentially the central theme of precision oncology. And the research program is embedded in a very collaborative environment where it encapsulate a number of different departments and hospitals and researchers, which if you need any additional persuasion, I have come to appreciate that this is such a great strength of the University of Utah campus. We have basic translational research as well as cancer centers and hospitals that are within 5 minutes drive of each other. And many of the researchers are national or world leading scientists on specific subject matters. So my role specifically in this has to do with a number of different aspects of our precision oncology pipeline. The first is in the analysis of the genome of the multi-omic properties of the tumor. We use advanced algorithms to figure out what it is in the tumor that can be targeted and exploited therapeutically to achieve better clinical outcomes than we are currently experiencing. The second part of my research has to do with drug screening informatics. We have the technology now to take patient tumor cells, culture them, and put them on automated drug screening robotics so that we can in vitro assess upward of 50 different possible therapies on the specific patient's tumor cells to see which one will likely work out better than the others. But there's very little informatics support behind this whole endeavor. So that's part of something that we're trying to build out. And the last part is about informatics turnaround, which is somewhat important for a lot of patients who are on a tight clinical schedule. We use very advanced software engineering techniques such as hardware accelerated computing to try to shorten something that currently takes 2 to 3 weeks down to 2 to 3 days, so that we can return clinically relevant result within a actionable time frame. And that is my current research portfolio. Thank you. I think I'm the last one.
You are wonderful. Thank you, E, for closing things up there. So terrific. So you've heard a little bit about our program and from some of our faculty members. Now, fortunately, we are in a good place time-wise. We would love to hear from you, any of your questions. So please feel free to come off of mute, raise your hand, or add your question into the chat, and we would be happy to answer it. Okay, did the obligatory 10 seconds. So I think I might, oh, Logan, yes, please. Is that right? Logan or Sidwell, please go right ahead.
Yeah, hi, I'm Logan. I graduated in computer science and I'm interested in this program, but I wanted to get a little experience in the bio field before committing to a PhD. Would you have any recommendations on where to get exposure to sort of labs and biology beforehand?
And jump in
Kendall,
here.
Kendall,
Sorry.
go right ahead.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so yeah, that's a really, really important thing. So I know I was also a computer scientist undergrad, and I mean, you always hear about these biology problems, but you're not sure if you want to commit the next 5 to 7 years to it, right? So there's a couple of good resources. First of all, I think that if you're interested in so I'd peruse, especially the researchers in our department, and you can reach out to them directly to see if they have research opportunities. So before you commit to a PhD, you can also get research experience in a lab of someone here at DBMI. And this is good because then this person will know you and can write a strong letter recommendation for you as you're applying to graduate school. That's one way you can do it. Another way you can do it is also the master's program. The master's is a program, it's kind of like a non-committal thing where we have also the people who are working alongside getting the master's. And so if you have a job you're working at right now and are interested in getting more training or more exposure to these areas, this master's is a great way to learn in kind of a structured way about the problems that are faced in informatics in pertaining to the medical fields right now. So those are two good ways. There's also, sorry, stop me if I talk too much, cut my mic. But there's also a bunch of resources on our department webpage. So we host, it's called a business seminar, just kind of highlighting research or highlighting career tracks that are kind of across the biomedical space. And all the recordings are online on the webpage as well, on the department webpage. And so if you'd like to, you can peruse the titles to see if anything's interesting to you, and then watch I think they're about an hour presentation to see if that's interesting to you as well.
Thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions? Yes, Teresa, please go right ahead. Thank you. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Just a couple of questions. Circling back to some of the administrative details, I just wanted to ask clarifying questions. Related to the transcript, was it mentioned that unofficial transcripts are acceptable?
Yes, they are when you initially submit your application, but then the admissions team at the University of Utah would request official transcripts. So if you can get them up front, it might cut down the time that your application goes through processes. But it's not necessarily necessary when you first submit your application, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. Thank you. Second is related to programming. So a way to explain it, I checked the boxes of the other requirements. However, I have not taken a programming course recently. So what would you advise on how to complete that requirement prior to submitting an application?
So I'm not sure I'm the best person to speak to this, but I will say just one thing. Just because you don't fulfill all the prereqs doesn't necessarily mean that you're not an eligible candidate at all. It's kind of just more of a, like, it'll ease you into the program. You'll have a really good basis to be successful in the PhD program. To get programming experiences, I'm not sure, does anyone...
Don't we have a list of like Coursera courses and a few of those things?
And I can get you that.
And you're still on campus, right, Teresa?
I am back on campus, yes.
That's what I thought. So there are some like 2-day short courses or some workshops offered through the Delphi and the Data Science Initiative that can sort of give you a jump start on some of those. The Coursera Python courses, I've been told, pretty good. So there's plenty of resources, and I think we actually have a list of some of those somewhere. If not, we can help you find it.
I can get that to you, yes.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much, Dr. Sword. My third question is related to kind of where my career is right now. And I noticed that, thank you for sending the list of mentors who are accepting students. Not having clicked on it yet and looked through, just wanted to ask this group. My experience and background has been in population pediatric health. And so would any of these mentors be focused in that area?
So it kind of depends on what happens in that area. So for example, I can see the potential of something happening in Jory's lab that would be like socio-technical evaluation. It's I mean, a lot of things can apply to pediatric and population health. It depends on where you want to go within that, right?
Okay, great. Thank you. Good to see you too.
Yeah, it was fun to see your face.
Can I also just say, like, if you also highlight this in your personal statement, you can talk about how, although you haven't received any formal coursework, these are the things you've done to bolster your informatics skills, and then talk about how you've done that in your personal statement, and that will be considered as well.
Yeah, and you know, think broadly, Teresa. You may not have done programming recently, but you have a lot of data management skills, right? So think broadly when you think about this.
Thank you. Those are my questions for now, but I'll review the links and I'm sure there will be additional questions and I'll circle back.
Excellent. Thanks for your questions. Any other questions? Looks like
I've got one question.
Elise. Yes,
Yeah,
go right ahead.
sorry, I'm in my car in the dark and I'm not driving, but the video is not a great option. I just wanted to clarify on sort of the timeline of the application and interviews. And I don't know if you're going to send out the slides, and that would probably answer this, but so we will be matched with faculty, it sounded like end of January, and then there's interviews with those specific faculty in like February, March, April timeframe, or is there also interviews with the admissions committee? Just trying to understand what that looks like.
Yeah, so it will kind of depend. The goal is to start setting up Zoom interviews towards the end of January into February, with visits happening in February, maybe March. But hopefully the goal is to get offers out as soon as possible, obviously, so you're not waiting around. So it will just kind of depend on availability, and again, we want to take our time and make sure we match you with the best possible mentors and everything.
Okay. And then the deadline for us to actually commit is April 15th. So
Right, that's the latest you can
for
accept,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, we've got a question here in the chat that I will read for the group. It is from Mary. Thank you, Mary. I hold a Master of Science in Geographical Information Systems, deeply interested in predictive analyses, specifically in assessing breast cancer risks, or risk in high-risk patients, modeling disease outbreaks. Also taking some online courses, Coursera, etc. Could you provide any advice or guidance, especially regarding predictive modeling and data analysis techniques that would be valuable in this field? All right, so if I'm interpreting that question, it's asking about various methods. So certainly, research methods is, something that we ensure that our students are educated on during their time with us. So I think if that's what you're asking, will you be educated in those, or are you asking if you need to know about that beforehand?
And also just say that a lot of the specific applications of these research things will be learned through the mentored research process. So some of this stuff is going to be very specific. And if you're matching with a mentor who's an expert in epidemiology of specific diseases or disease outbreaks, that most of that training will come in a very specialized and one-on-one I guess method, or I guess way through the training from your mentor. And so although there may not be classes that are specifically about modeling disease outbreaks, whatever, there will be, you'll work with your mentor to, I guess, supplement with classes that do exist about general modeling, and then research experience that pertains particularly to this specifically modeling disease outbreaks.
Just want to add one more thing is that, if you are asking about regarding the program in general terms, if things work out as they are planned, I will be teaching you introduction to machine learning. So I think that would be relevant to this topic. And, I think any general data analysis techniques would come in helpful, including R skills, Python skills, be able to make plots the way you want them, understand data in different ways, extra dimensionality reduction, all things are genetic techniques are always useful when it comes to a specific research topic.
Great, thank you both. Hope that helps Mary. So in other words, you don't necessarily need to know those in detail beforehand. But I will say, certainly anything that you can provide to us about your research experience would be very welcome. So understanding if you participated as assisting or even volunteering on any research projects, please let us know that. And as specific as you can be in providing details on what your role was in any way, shape, or form would be fantastic. All right, as we're waiting to see if there are any other questions, Amy and Barb, I wonder if I might turn it over to you. Any frequently asked questions or something that you get asked all the time that you would like to to bring forward at this time? Or any
Do you have anything specific?
issues? Any common issues you see with applications or?
I guess I should mention it's a fully funded program. That's a big, you might already know, but that's a big plus. I don't know what we haven't already covered. I know research experience is very important to mention. That's a big thing we look for. And then again, personal statement. But other than that, the earlier you get the application in, the better. Master's program is not funded, no. And they actually have a info session happening on November 19th at 5 too. They'll be able to provide a lot more in-depth information about that there. But no, that one's not funded. And that link to the Zoom is below for registration for that.
Logan, I might also mention, Kendall mentioned the master's program. There's also a 15 credit certificate if you don't even want to commit as far as a master's program, which is 30 credits. The 15 credit certificate is, enough to dip your toe in the water. It is not uncommon for people to come in as a certificate or master's student and then switch to the PhD once they make their mind up. That would not be at all unusual.
Thank you. That sounds very interesting. Do you have a link to that? I guess I can go check that.
I can grab you one.
Great. Any other burning questions?
Yes, I actually do, if that's okay. I have quite a bit. So the next kind of thought I have is related to life balance. And as been mentioned, this is a fully funded program. I think I saw on the slide that there are currently 22 students in the program. Is that correct? So with it being fully funded, what is the possibility for any student to have an external employment? Is that doable? Is that discouraged? What's the experience with that?
Predominantly, it is discouraged. It's not absolutely that no one can do it, but it tends to be pretty discouraged because historically, the students that have had outside jobs are the ones that end up taking 8 or 9 years to finish instead of 5. The few times I've seen it be successful is when the students' research is closely aligned to what the job is, where that almost can be in some ways work much like the research lab. That's pretty uncommon, but not, probably not 100% impossible, although given the new funding models, it might be close to 100% impossible. I don't really, they keep changing, the graduate school keeps changing its rules, you know.
Yes.
So, but it is pretty well discouraged just because, you know, you're spending 20 hours a week at least in a research lab, probably doing 20 hours a week on homework and coursework, trying to do a job on top of that. That's hard.
And just to be clear, fully funded means that you don't have to pay tuition and that you will get a stipend every year. I think currently for this 2024, it started at 40,000. You'll get a stipend of $40,000 a year.
Yes, and health insurance.
And your tuition is covered.
And you get free lunch on Thursdays. during your partner seminar.
And we
And
should
a
probably
crystal ball.
mention Kendall's in charge of fun.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
And okay, and this free lunch is Thursday when? Is there
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, there's one tomorrow if you want to come. Served at 11:30.
Okay, send me the
Yeah.
information.
Okay, I will.
421 Wakara, you can find it.
Okay. Follow-up question though, and Kathy, you had mentioned those who have worked, it's taken them a little bit longer, 8 to 9 years. So my question related to that is there a deadline or you must finish this degree by a certain time?
So once you hit 7 years, we have to write a plan for the graduate school every semester that says, this is what you have left. And you have to have letters of support from your committee saying, we're still willing to keep working with this student. So it's up to 7 years, you pretty much do your own thing. And then at that point, the graduate school starts going, are you ever gonna get done?
Okay, that's good to know. So 7 might be the end, but 5 years is on average is what it takes a candidate to complete.
After 7, we're gonna hassle the hell out of you.
Okay, I can take it. No, but that's good to know. Okay, 7 years. I think my other question is, and I don't think we have a current student on the line. Is there any students who be willing to kind of take some questions from a potential candidate that we could connect with if that's something you could share their contact information with, or even share mine that if they're more comfortable with that, that'd be great.
Yeah, we have student representatives and Teresa, if you wanna, what do you think, Amy? Is that the best route, is to give Teresa's information to the student reps and then have them reach out?
Probably it'd be simplest.
Okay.
They will.
That's great. Thank you.
Fantastic. Great questions. Any other additional questions this evening?
I had just a quick one about the certificate program. Is it just the same tuition as the rest of the university?
Amy or Barb?
Yeah, so our tuition has an additional differential component. So when you're looking at tuition rates online, and we have a link on our website to our tuition. It's different than just general tuition. So it's additional monies. So be sure and look at BMI tuition rate schedules. And that's that. And so you would need to look there for the cost of the certificate.
Thank you.
Another way, Logan, is you could always take 1 or 2 courses unmatriculated, non-degree seeking, and then you don't, you do not have to follow the differential charges. So you can contact me or Amy and we can give you more information on how to work the system a little bit to help you save some money.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I think I'm really going to apply next cycle. I just want
Okay.
to give myself 1 year of trying it out.
Right. I understand completely.
Is it
Great.
necessary to reach out to a faculty member? It's not required. However, we certainly don't discourage you from talking to people. It can be helpful in terms of trying to articulate and identify who you would like to work with. So we encourage you to like look people up on the website. If they have work that looks interesting, you know, talk to them and just say, I'd like to learn more about your work. It's certainly not required, but we don't discourage it.
And it actually it could be beneficial to work through Amy to have that happen. Faculty get many emails every day. And a lot of times when it refers to an applicant, they automatically press the forward button to us. So we could introduce you to them and get a better response. So you may want to send it to Amy first, and then we can work through and get your information to the right person.
Really great questions. Any other thoughts, questions, comments? All right. Well, I think we are getting close to the end of our time here. So just wanted to say thank you once again for joining us and for your interest in the program. I think I speak for all of the faculty and staff on the line here. We really love this department. It's a fantastic place to work, to learn, to collaborate. So we certainly, welcome your questions. Please reach out if there's anything that we can do to help support you in your application process. And we certainly look forward to potentially seeing you here at the University of Utah. So thank you very much. Thanks everyone for joining and have a great night. Bye-bye.